Hey everybody, Doug Patterson here, and I was just checking to make sure this was actually working. I just did about 5 minutes of really great stuff, and I realized that the camera wasn't on. So I'm going to try it again. I'm out here in the old garage in this zone. I'm glad you stopped by. My name is Doug Patterson, and today is a very, very, very special day. And you might say, well, Doug, why is that? Well, because today is Wednesday, July the 17th. July the 17th is a great day every year because it is my birthday. And today, 2019, July 17th, I am 67 years old. You might say, Doug, I can't believe that, man, because you look really fantastic for 67. Hey, I know. Well, anyhow, listen, I'm out here having a good time. I'm wearing a t-shirt of one of my favorite bands of all time, the Nighthawks. And boy, life is good. Listen, I told you last week I'm going to give you a little update on some of the guitars that I'm building. I'm in the process of building 2 acoustic guitars. You see some of them in their parts and so forth back there on the bench. And 5 small electric guitars, 3-string guitars that are going to be great for playing the blues, playing rock. You know, they're going to be fantastic. And I've got to the place where I have the neck pockets routed out. I want to show one of them to you, and you're going to say, but Doug, you wrote something on this one, and that's really what I want you to see. So check this out. This is kind of like a little Fender Strat, not really, but it's kind of in that vein. And here it is. And can you read the writing on there? It says, "This machine kills fascists." Now, some of you, not all of you, will recognize where that comes from. It comes from Woody Guthrie. Woody Guthrie, the great protest singer of the 40s, 50s, 60s even. Woody Guthrie was one of the very few, at least one of the very first people to come out in public and say, listen, what's going on in Nazi Germany and so forth, this has got to stop. So he wrote a song in the 40s, and he entitled it Talking Hitler's Head Off Blues. Talking Hitler's Head Off Blues. And the lyrics of that song were printed in the Daily Worker, which was a magazine printed in New York City, and it became quite popular. And from that time on, he, on his guitars, wrote, "This machine kills fascists." I printed off a picture of one of his guitars, and my printer's running out of ink, so you got to forgive this. But this is it. This machine kills fascists. Now, I wrote that on this guitar here, and it's going to, of course, be sanded off and painted over. But I believe that everything you do to a guitar while you're building it adds to its spirit, its mojo, if you will. So that's always going to be imprinted in that guitar. The point is this. Woody Guthrie had something to say, and he said it with his songwriting, he said it with his voice, and he said it with his guitar. It was an instrument. It enabled him to communicate what he wanted the world to know. He didn't just stuff it down inside, he got it out there. And I applaud, I support people who do that. I don't always agree with them, but I certainly applaud their willingness and their enthusiasm and letting people know where they stand. Now, every guitar that I build, I enjoy building them. I enjoy the process, as you know. But I also know this, that that's not the end product. The end product comes when that guitar gets into the hand of another person. Some of my guitars are in the hands of professional players, and they play in blues bands, and they play in bars, they play in churches, they play in public, they play on the streets. Some of my guitars are in the hands of people that do that, and they use them as tools to enable their voices and their opinions to be heard. This is why, one of the great reasons I love doing what I do. Now, I don't know, I've always said this to you, and I'm going to say it to you again today. I'm going to tell you that you have something to say. And in this day and age, it's always been the case, but it's getting a lot of press lately, and it's disturbing. And I'm angry about what's going on in this world. I'm angry about what's going on in these United States. And you have to take a stand. You have to say something. You have to stand up. You have to say something. You have to protest against racism in any form. You have to confront supporters of racism. You have to be able to say, listen, all this economic injustice, all these kids that are in cages on our borders, that list goes on and on and on and on and on and on. All of these things is never going to stop until you and I get our voices out there and say, listen, enough is enough. This world has enough ugliness, and beauty has to overcome it. And that will come through music, that will come through literature, that will come through art, through painting. It'll come most of all from your voice confronting people who have ugly, evil things to say. Does the preacher in me come out right there? Oh, I'm glad that it does, because I feel very strongly about it. So, anyhow, this machine, this little guitar, when it ends up in the hands of a player, it's going to enable that person. And in this case, this guitar is going to go to my brother, and I know he's going to put it to good purpose to get his opinions out there. But well, you got to use what you have. You have to use your tools, and you have to use your voice, and you have to trust your inner spirit. You have to trust all of that integrity and honesty deep inside. You have to let it out and tell it to somebody. So anyhow, this fires me up. I'm glad that you stopped by. I guess at 67, I get a new enthusiasm for life. And I'm looking forward to eating pizza tonight, having ice cream and cake. I'm looking forward to having some of the family come over tonight. We're going to have a good time. I am so glad you stopped by. If you like this video, you hit that like button. And if you want to share it with your friends via Facebook, please do. I appreciate that. And above all, confront racism in all of its ugly forms. Have a great day. I'll talk to you again next week. See you. Bye.